Students, today we are going to study the optical instruments, and optical instruments are defined as the devices which works on the principle of refraction, reflection and other related phenomena to optics. So these optical instruments, the first one is the human eye, which is the most basic optical instrument in the human world. So we are going to study the human eye in detail today. See, this is the picture of a human eye. Human eye, when it is discussed, let's come to the part or the structure of the human eye. The first layer, which is called cornea, it is the transparent part of eye which allows the light to enter into the eye. So this outermost transparent layer is called cornea. Now this eye is the three-structured layer. The first layer is called sclerotic layer. This is white in color and it is visible from the outside when you see to the eye of a person. The second layer, which is a dark layer or it is black in color, is called choroid. This layer is black in color. And the third layer, here it is the retina, and it is the most important part. It is the retina and it is the most important part of the eye, as it behaves like the screen on which the light coming from the objects is converged by the eye lens. So we should come in the former part of the eye again. Here there is a liquid filled in the eye. This liquid is called aqueous humor. This liquid is bit more denser than the water. Its refractive index is 1.336. Now we again come to the more interior part, and here we see a colored muscular membrane or diaphragm which gives the eye particular color, and this layer is called iris. Iris is a circular membrane and in between there is a hole. This hole is called the pupil. Now, this iris has the function to control the amount of light entering into the eye, and pupil gives the path to light to reach the eye lens. Now, this is the biconvex natural lens, which serves as the natural lens which converges the light rays coming from the objects at different distances. These are the ciliary muscles, which has a very important function. These ciliary muscles gives the eye lens the power through which we can see the nearby as well as the far distant objects. Here behind the eye lens there is again a liquid filled which is transparent. Its refractive index is again 1.336 and it is known as vitreous humor. Retina is consisted of two types of cells. One is rod-shaped cells, and other is cone-shaped cells. These cells, when the image is formed on the retina, they send that optical signal by converting them into electrical signal through the optic nerves, which takes the signal and connect it to the brain, and finally brain gives us the senses of seeing an object. So these are the optic nerves. One more thing, here is a point on retina at which the most bright image or the brightest image is formed, which is called yellow spot. And here in this space there exists the blind spot at which when the light rays converge by the lens, because of the absence of retina or the rod cone shaped cells, it gives no idea to the brain and we are not able to see the object. So this is the structure of eye, and here we are going to discuss the structural part again. We have the cornea. This is the transparent layer which is at the foremost part of the eye. Then we come inside, we get the aqueous humor, it is the liquid, and this liquid is a bit denser than the water. Then we have the iris, which is a circular membrane or diaphragm which gives the eye a particular color, and there is a hole in between which is called pupil, which let the light enter into the eye lens. Iris has an important function that it controls the amount of light entering into the eye lens. Then we have the ciliary muscles, which varies the focal length of the eye lens when it is needed. It is vitreous humor here, a liquid film again. It's 1.336 in its refractive index. The eye lens is a bit more dense than these two liquids. Now we have already discussed that the eyeball is a three-layered structure. Here we have sclerotic, which is white in color, choroid, and then retina. Retina is the screen at which the eye lens converges the light. Now let's discuss an important property of eye. It is the property of accommodation. You know, our eye lens is a very special lens because it has the variable focal length. See, this is the eye lens. Now, if the object is at infinity or it is at a very near distance, then only we can see that the rays coming from infinite are focused on retina, as well as the rays coming from a nearby point also focused at retina. It is a very important property of the eye lens, as the distance between the lens and the retina is not going to change. This distance is taken to be 2.5 centimeter for a normal human eye. So the image location is not going to change, but the distance of object is continuously varying from 25 centimeter, which is the least distance of distant vision, to the infinite distance. So the U is changing continuously while V is constant. That's why it is very important to change the focal length of the eye lens. Focal length should be variable as we know. The lens formula relates the object distance, the image distance, and the focal length of the lens. Here we can again observe that if the U is changing continuously and V is fixed, then F should be changed such that the image is always formed at the same distance. As in the human eye, the distance between the eye lens and the retina is fixed. That's why you have to change your eye lens focal length, and this is the property of accommodation, that your eye gives the accommodation to all the light rays coming from all objects irrespective of their corresponding locations. So we get this accommodation as an important property of eye. Now let's come to the point that which part of eye gives this accommodating property to your eyelids. These are the ciliary muscles. Ciliary muscles give the eye the property of accommodation by simply varying the focal length of the eyelids. By expanding and relaxing, they decrease and increase the focal length of eyelids, thus providing the eyelids property of accommodation. Now, we should define few important terms here again. It is near point. Near point is defined as the least distance if at which any object is placed, its sharp image is formed at retina. Its value for a normal human eye is 25 centimeter. Now we are defining the far point, and the far point is the farthest distance at which the object image, if at which the object is placed, then again its sharp image is observable at retina. This distance is taken to be infinity for a normal human eye. Now we are defining an important term, that is power of accommodation. Power of accommodation of an eye is defined as maximum variation in the power of the eyelids. Now, as the focal length varies, the power varies, and this term is called power of accommodation. Now, we can have a simple workout to get the power of accommodation for normal human eye. So the question is, for this workout, I am giving this you in the form of a question. Calculate the power of accommodation of a normal human eye. See, first case is that in which the object is at near point. The least distance which can be possible is 25 centimeter for the near point. But the value of image distance is again only 2.5 centimeter. Now, as u is taken to be negative always, and here v is the real image count, that's why it is positive. Now, to calculate the effective focal length of the lens, in this case 1 by f is equals to 1 by v minus 1 by u, that is lens formula should be used. Now putting the value in this formula, we will get 1 by 2.5 minus 1 by 25 centimeter. This is the value we get Now here, if we take the LCM, it will be 25, and here the value will come equal to 10 plus 1 is equals to 11 upon 25. So very easily we can get the value for the minimum focal length. Here we get the value of f as equivalent to 25 upon 11 centimeter. Corresponding power can be calculated for the near point. It will be 1 by f and 100 by f if you are using the value in centimeter. It will be 100 upon 25 into 11, that is 44 diameter. Now the second case is for the far point. For the far point, u is equals to infinity, and v is again 2.5 centimeter. So here 1 by f value will be equivalent to 1 by 2.5 minus of infinity, it will be 0. This factor will be equivalent to 0, and thus the focal length will be equivalent to 2.5 centimeter. And here if we find out the power of the eye corresponding to the far point, it will be 4t diopter. So we'll get the effective power of accommodation as P near minus P far, that is 44 diopter minus 40 diopter, and will be equivalent to 4 diopter. So this is the power of accommodation of eye, and which will be very important concept for you dealing with this optical instrument, the natural one and very important one.